worked.
No, he made us millennial pause. No. Hey.
I don't know if it's working.
Echo.
I don't
Who's
see
echoing?
a stream. I don't see a stream.
It still
on
looks
YouTube.
black to me, yeah.
Oh wait.
Yeah, I see the notification.
Okay, you'll be happy
And
to
we're-
know that the beginning of the video just starts with me screaming, no. He made us millennial pause.
Like last
no.
week.
Oh, you know what?
We are Squawking Dead, a podcast pulverizing programs beyond the Walking Dead universe. Sometimes we give you news, sometimes we make you laugh, but most times we go deep. I'm your host, David Cameo, and somebody still has noise suppression on. And Rachel, you are?
Very frustrated right now. Hi, I'm CosmoMom09.
Lazy Gardener.
And Bridget. You can find me at ko-fi.com/punkybrewster. That's PUNKYBRUISETER.
And we're here today to talk about Earth Abide's second episode of its inaugural season titled The Space Between. Sharon, one thing about your mic, check to see if it's actually using it.
How about that better? I had it pushed down.
It's
Is
much
that better?
Also, is your noise suppression turned on? Because
I turned it on when you asked before. I made sure it was turned on.
Okay.
Yes, it is.
Well, we'll just deal with that. Anyway,
Where's your
I'm glad to be
charging
here
cord
live with
at?
all of you. Charging cord. Oh,
Yeah.
maybe. It could be that.
It's always the cord.
Yeah.
As soon as she
Well,
moved her phone,
we're
it
here-
went wah, 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 wah.
Yep.
Better?
Yep, that did it.
Oh my god.
A little bit, yeah.
A little, yeah.
A little bit. All right. Well, anyways, we're here to talk to you live about this series, which let's just start with first impressions, something that we don't do because I know that the title is going to be a little bit tougher to dissect because it is a new series. And sometimes we kind of have to do a temperature check to see how we're all doing. And in true fashion, I feel like I should start with Bridget, actually.
Oh,
I feel like we
okay.
should do a soft open.
Soft open. Okay, so my impression of or are we doing the title thing? What are we doing now, Dave? Come
No,
on.
just impression.
You've thrown
Yeah,
me off.
Nobody's
now.
paying attention to the man behind the curtain
No,
right now.
you're making me
I
change
literally
it up.
said just now, I said, instead of the
It's
title, because it's a little harder to do, let's do first impressions
You can't
of the
keep switching it
series
back and forth,
on the
Dave.
whole.
No, it's fine. It's fine. It's fine. I'm just gonna say that over and over again. Apparently, it was okay. This second episode was all right.
Worse.
I feel like I'm just saying different words for fine.
Worse.
For the same thing. By the way,
Bridget,
so everybody knows.
she's got the like the thesaurus over here on the side, just looking up different words for
Was-
fine.
is there,
Fine.
are there other words
It
for
was
it? Okay,
average.
fine.
It was
Average.
mediocre.
Was it
I wouldn't-
mediocre?
It
though?
was. It's hard to say. It's hard to say as of right now. I'll give it one more episode. Is how I'm feeling. Now, there's a
Oh,
couple.
wow.
There's a couple
Go.
things
It did
I'll say
get
about
worse.
it. A couple things I'll say about it. This was weird. This episode was weird. Not in like a bad way. Just like surprised me. But also not in like a ooh, I'm so surprised. Like it was like okay, that was
Weird.
fine. I guess that was okay.
Again, we're back with the okays and the mediocre.
And then- now it's just funny. At
I
this
mean,
point.
Isn't that a
well-
problem with the show though? Like a show should grab you at the beginning and be like, "Watch me, I'm so good," and we're all sitting here like, "Yeah, it's okay." It's
Yeah,
Well,
that's
to your point, yeah, pilotitis in the first episode, and yet compared to the first episode, you're saying, which did have a lot of information. It's kind of like Fear the Walking Dead. You got to see the fall in a way.
Well, this had some character development, which I was fine with. That didn't bother me. I was fine with the character development. I just I don't know. It's just lacking something. A certain I don't know what.
Don't say je ne sais quoi.
I almost did, but instead I said it in English.
Said in English.
and what I will say is it is like a non-funny version of The Last Man on Earth.
Yes, very much so. I'll agree with that.
Is really the vibe it's
Oh,
giving.
oh, right, with Will Forte, right?
Yes, which is a phenomenal dystopian comedy. It's hilarious. I love it. It's
Does
great.
not take
I
itself
think
too seriously.
That might be
Exactly.
part
until
of the
it
problem
does.
with the show is there is no humor really in it. I mean,
There's a
when
there's
they
a
do,
little.
it's
There's
some.
a touch.
There's
There's a
some.
touch. A skosh. Something like
so
that.
as I'm watching this show and I've been sitting here
Thesaurus,
thinking
Bridget.
about the reasons I'm not digging it, and I'm like, every single reason I come up with is also a thing that happens in like House of the Dragon. So I'm like, what is the difference? And
That's okay.
my feeling is the difference is this show doesn't have dragons. Right? Like if there were some dragons flying around, I would be way more into the show. But for me, it's just like
More to the point.
it's
Well,
it's-
Game of Thrones
Instead,
didn't
we
have
get rats.
dragons as much.
Yes, thank you. Yeah, out of nowhere,
Well, it's
rats
also a
out of
matter of-
nowhere.
It's also a matter of being entertained. Because this show, there's a real clear argument. Is this show entertaining? It can be one thing if a show can engage you and prod you and make you feel something, but do you feel entertained? Right? No.
I felt okay. Like I was like,
I'm not saying for me, I'm just saying for you.
yeah, I felt okay watching it. I wasn't like, oh my god. I wasn't like scrolling on my phone the whole time. That's usually a sign that I do not like a show. I was watching it,
Mhm.
but
So it was engaging.
yeah, to some degree, yeah.
Is this
Okay.
okay?
But it was just okay. It's just like it's taking a lot of things that I love and components from things that I love and doing it in a poorer way. I don't want to be too harsh. Because the show, like I said a million times already, was okay. But it's like Last Man on Earth, but not funny. It's like Survivors, but like somehow more scientifically inaccurate. It's like
But something's missing.
something just isn't quite right. I don't know.
It's like white people cooking compared.
Yeah,
to
it's missing a seasoning. It's a little bland.
I'm making all the
It
faces.
is very
right now.
bland.
Yeah.
So
a little bland.
you said scrolling on a phone is a
Rachel's face right now.
You said scrolling on a phone is how you know you don't like a show, right? So here's mine. Halfway through this episode, I turned off the TV and went to bed.
Yeah, that's not a good sign.
Because if
It
I
was
like a
'cause you were
show,
tired.
I will no. If I like a show, I will watch it until my eyes bleed to finish watching it. This show,
Oh.
I was like halfway through, I was like, yeah, you know what? I'm just gonna go to bed. This does
See,
not catch
Bridget,
me at
that's how
all.
you do it. That's how you do it. You share it.
Look, it was okay. I don't know what you want from me to do.
Thesaurus, Bridget. All right, let's go to Rachel. Tap the M. No.
It was okay.
Look,
I mean,
No,
Look,
make some sounds.
satisfactory,
We need sounds.
all right, fine, in order, acceptable, up to scratch. You can use any of those.
All right. She actually see, you actually looked it up. You cheated. Bridget has it. It's just right there. Wait, Rachel, I want you to do something for me. I want you to close your eyes and just fast forward through the episode. And as you fast forward through the episode, make sounds. Ready?
okay.
Okay, we get the intro.
No.
Tell me,
running towards the
tell
house.
me when we get halfway point.
Right?
Are we at the halfway point? Shh.
Wait, no, this is her sounds.
Nah, no. Mm-mm.
Okay, and the rats.
I had mixed feelings about the rats because I I do. I used to have rats as pets.
I
But that was
wasn't-
too.
They weren't
Oh.
grossing out or anything. I was just like, where did they come from out of nowhere? Like all of a sudden they're just getting attacked by rats. And
Okay.
for one thing, the rats would not like migrate into the suburbs in a big pack and start attacking the one house with people in it. And then he goes, "Oh, they're after the meat," and so he runs out and throws the meat on the fire. Dude, you just cooked that. You're just calling every animal within like 100 miles of your cooked meat. But I was just like, no, where did they come from? Then he's like, "Oh, we're being attacked by rats." And then the cats came and they were all gone. Like, it was just, what?
The rat part didn't bother me, honestly, because the rats becoming an infestation is a likelihood. It's why I didn't understand why he stayed in the city. Because like he didn't go back to his cabin. He's at his parents' house?
But even if they did, say the rats are more of a problem in the city, right? I mean,
Well,
but
he's outside the city.
as their food source dwindles in the city, they're going to start dying off. Yes, they will spread out into the suburbs a little bit, but it's not going to be like this massive herd of rats that just suddenly appears and starts attacking their house. It wouldn't be like that. If anything, they would disperse out into the countryside where there is more forage, because there haven't been people for a year or over a year or 2 years by the time we hit the end of this episode. So like the rats, they wouldn't have stayed in a herd like walkers and migrated. They're like moving out to the suburbs. The city's no good anymore, guys. Let's go move out to the suburbs. That is not how it would have happened. Like that wouldn't have happened. Like that, maybe in the city, yes, you would have had somebody in a house get attacked, but out in the countryside, like they are kind of in, that would not happen like that. And then what bugged me about it also was just all of a sudden they're like, we had this rat thing, and then the cats come and they're gone. Okay.
Well, so as far as the rat thing goes, that is a distinct possibility, because why she's laughing and we're denied the laughter. First of all,
I'm number one. Hey, Thomas.
See, I don't turn my thing. Anyway, so the rat thing is a distinct possibility, because they are maybe 1 to 2 miles outside of the city. And if rats are prone to being in the city because of their scavengers, they're scavengers. They'll eat anything. They'll even eat themselves. They're young, their next door neighbor, etc. And so they'll still breed because of that. So apparently rats do have 2 different sets of smell receptors. One is for pheromones, that's deeper in their nasal cavity. The other one is out front. So they have basically what's called like a stereo sound sense of smell. They can pinpoint, based on those 2 olfactory organs, exactly where the food is. And their distance that they can smell is 2 whole kilometers. So he seems to be fairly close to the city. And if the rats, like you said, started spreading outward from the city slowly, over the course of the year, because it is a year in when they first meet, then I could see a world in which by slowly spreading out.
That's what's bothered me about this whole thing. Is like being in the city is such a bad idea. It's such a bad idea.
Well, they're outside the city.
It's still too close. It's still too close.
Right,
I'm saying, like,
I'm with you, Bridget.
Typhoid is a real concern.
Listen,
typhoid
Monday
is a
morning
real
quarterback.
Okay, dude. Okay, come on. This is what we cover. These are the kind of shows we cover. You're telling me you haven't sat down and thought, where would I go if this happened?
No, I'm a city boy.
Okay,
so
well, I have.
I don't know.
I have, and I would
S.
not be anywhere near where I am right now. I might bug
Even
in for
you
like
out there where you are.
I'm not far enough out. I am not far enough out. There are too many people still in the area that I am in. Typhoid is a real concern when there are a ton of dead bodies around.
Would you say that you're in an okay neighborhood?
It's fine. It's acceptable.
It's fine.
It's okay.
By the way, hi, Thomas. I forgot to say hi.
What I'm saying is the rats wouldn't come in a big herd like that. Okay, like that is what I'm saying. It wouldn't be like rats scratching at their doors like they have to tape. But I don't think it would. Number one, there's way too much out there for rats to eat. They don't have to go search out the one house that has me in it. Anyway, that there's no rats don't act like that. There's no way that that would happen like that, where they would have to tape their doors and windows closed. So that's just not going to happen like that. Now, what is the danger from the rats is all the diseases they carry and how disgusting. Like I'm nothing against rats. I've had them as pets as well, but they are disgusting animals. I mean, they really are. That's where their problem is.
Supremacists. So.
But like, would they have jumped on the dog when the dog got outside like that? If there was enough of them, yeah. But even that was
Hell yeah, they would.
Even that was a stretch.
That's another thing. That's another thing that they would do. You have to also consider that this is the concern I had in the first episode, that nature, in and of itself, because humans aren't around, you've taken away the apex predator, right? Where the not top? Is it the top of the food chain? It doesn't matter. We're the apex predator, basically. You take that out. And they even mentioned that the birds in this episode, the birds are gone. Now they say it's because that their predators have moved in and actually killed a lot of them. I think, and this is something that I looked up, along with mice and rats, birds are also very close to our DNA, let's just say. And so when they do human experimentation, or they try to test things for humans, they also test birds too. It's something they've stayed away from because of all the ethics and animal cruelty organizations. So they've stuck to lab grown mice, which is also a problem because of the telomeres issue. But still, the virus that would have affected us, I think, would have affected the birds. They don't say that canon on the show, but I think that's it. And it was noticeably quiet. Bereft of birds, basically. Great job, sound people.
Okay.
But it is interesting. We are seeing differences in herd mentality because of the lack of apex predator.
I want to move away from the rats because I have a question for you guys about
this. Is like the Anne and Milton conversation.
Pretty much. Stop it with the rats. I'm tired of talking about it already.
Yeah, let's move on.
But
that's fine. Even though it was the most exciting part of the show.
That's my question. No, I'm kidding. My question is why doesn't he just take Emma back to his cabin? It already had solar power.
Did it? I don't remember that.
Yeah, it had solar panels on the roof.
Oh, did it? Okay. That's a great question, but here's the thing. She had already established that she didn't want to live in a soulless place. A place without family that
she wanted to live in a place that was lived in. He had lived there already. They could have made it a home.
But he went there to be alone. So it's got that bit to it, which I don't disagree, by the way.
Agree to disagree. It was fine.
Was it just okay?
Otto would like to put in his 2 bits really quick. He says that anybody who would let their doggy go outside into a gang of rats is not a good doggy owner. That's all he has to say about it.
I'm gonna say something.
I want to know how they didn't check for Lucky before they started sealing the place up. How did they not realize he was not inside?
They're gonna make great parents.
I mean, they were freaking out. And in the commotion of trying to not make it so that they get into the house, they just assumed he ran in before them.
That makes sense for you, David, because you hate dogs. But anybody who loves their animals is going to get eyes on them. Anyone who loves their dog knows when they're in the house.
I don't know, but it does say something about Ish, though. And well, maybe it says something about both of them, is that their primary concern was their pregnant Emma, I think. Yeah. I mean, she's literally gave birth the next day in a mystical kind of sense. So
can I actually give
they're right to
first impressions? Because I didn't get to yet. You asked me to
I
make
thought,
sounds.
I thought the sounds
You
were
asked me
your
to-
first impression.
You asked me to make sounds, but I didn't actually say anything.
Well, because you started saying what Bridget said. It was just okay. It's all right. It's decent.
And then I stopped.
Am I wrong?
No.
Okay, go ahead.
I was
Well, I'm never gonna give first
I was
impressions. That's not what I
joking. I thought it was
wrote. Oh,
funny because that's what Bridget
you're
said.
true.
But no. I if I'm being completely honest, I think it was less than okay. I want this is gonna sound terrible, but I don't even care. I don't care. That's how that's where I'm at watching the show. I don't care. I wanted Emma to die by the end of the episode. I was rooting for it. Like
Whoa.
seriously, not because
the pregnant
not because I
Emma?
dislike her. Like she was a somewhat sort of interesting character, even though we know next to nothing about her. We saw some pictures. We know she had 2 kids. I mean, we barely know anything about her. I just wanted something to happen.
exciting to happen. Right,
Yeah.
right.
Yeah.
I see what you're saying. I thought that's what you meant, but
Yeah,
I see what you're saying.
absolutely. The
Some
cow
conflict.
scene, I thought the cow scene was something. I mean, it was like that little bit of humor, kind of watching Ish like be grossed out and like reading the book and then getting back into it.
For
And like
me.
it was kind of like the funny point. She tried to sprinkle in a little bit of humor here and there, but I blame the writers for it not being funny.
One thing I do appreciate about this show is Ish isn't this amazing dude who knows how to do everything right off the bat, right? Which is what you usually get in these shows, right? That's a Rick, right? Oh, I know how to do everything. I can kill this cow and know how to do it. I appreciate that Ish is like, I don't know what the heck I'm doing, right? I have to go look at a book to figure out what I'm doing. And I appreciate that that's what they've done with his character. He's not automatically like this genius that knows how to do everything out in the world. So I did appreciate that part of it. But I'm with Rachel on the rest of it. The rest, I'm just like, I really just don't care. Like, I had to force myself to go back and watch the second half the next day, and that was only because we were going to be covering it. I was like,
Well, for my part, I along with appreciating the fact that Ish doesn't know everything. I like the fact that we're getting to know him with every episode, and part of that is knowing that how different he and Emma are. The kind of person he he went to that cabin not just to be a geologist. He went there to be alone, to be away from society. Whereas Emma was all about the big family, but the family gatherings, the friends, the love, the being with people, being in the thick of the action, the chaos, the screaming, and how different they are and how they found each other. As it's kind of like how when some people argue opposites attract. And that's never more true here, but so too, biologically speaking, are good couples. When you have different sets of genetics that complete each other, as well as different sets of characteristics, it breeds a more full child. Ideally, a child will gravitate towards one versus the other, or then they'll trade places, or they'll have a buffet of traits that they can adapt from those two parents, both biologically and also socially. So, I don't know. That to me, I thought was interesting.
I really enjoyed the juxtaposition of Emma knowing so much about what it takes to live in this world and Ish really not knowing. And honestly, it's interesting to know that she wanted that big family, the house full of people, the community, that's what she missed, because it seems like he didn't want that and he seems to be handling it worse than she was. If that makes sense.
Right.
We only really see her break down that one time when she's looking through the pictures. Other than that, she seems to be pretty strong. She had walked from Pensacola, or I shouldn't say walked. She traveled from Pensacola, which is a huge distance to travel.
Opposite end of the country.
Yes, a huge distance to travel. She's been alone. It would appear the whole time. If she did find anybody, it wasn't anybody worth being around.
We don't know yet. Right.
And she traveled well. Like she had her rucksack and everything was like ready to go. Ish really hasn't done a ton other than drive to Las Vegas, get upset, and then come back home immediately and be like, forget it. And then continually drive around in his car to be like, I am like, get it together. And he was the one who wanted to be alone. So it's really interesting to see how differing their personalities are in that. Honestly, it reminds me a lot of me and my husband, which is why like I don't dislike the characters. I think the characters are fine. Like Travis knows a lot. He's a really smart guy. But when it comes to stuff like this, like that's me. That's what I know about.
You're the one that studied zombie apocalypse.
I am the one who studied the world ending. You know what I mean?
I am a zombologist. Thank you.
My business card
I
says
also
zombie
like
expert. Thank you very much.
Okay, you need to change it to zombologist. Anyway, because it sounds so much funnier, actually, not cooler. But what's even more interesting is knowing that prehistoric man, the women did a lot. They did.
I'm
the
sorry.
hunting.
How
They
is
did-
that different from today's society?
No, what I'm saying is
We
it's
do
the
all the
impression
work
that
and
we
y'all
get.
get all the credit.
I'm dovetailing onto what you said about the guy not knowing what to do, and that is something that's been the case.
I want to
I
want to clarify what I'm saying because I do not agree with the trope that men are idiots. I do not agree with that trope.
I agree.
That's not what I'm saying. What I'm saying is he is not well versed in this particular area, which I find that to be an enjoyable and believable character.
Well,
He doesn't
I'll
know
go
about
even further.
solar panels.
I was going to go
automatically. I wanted to cut in there because I hate the idiot husband trope. It really drives me insane. Because I'm like,
and I don't think that's
really?
true either.
This
by
is
the
what
way.
we're perpetuating? Great. Weaponized incompetence.
I contend.
Thank you.
I contend that it's going the other way, actually, and that what's happening here is very much what I'm going to say this out loud. We can clean it up in post. No, we can't. It's live. It's going in the direction of sexual stereotypes, basically, that's the woke name, but it's really just preference, sexual preference. What ends up happening is the women will do all the hunting, they'll do all the foraging, they'll do all the well, not necessarily all the cooking, by the way, but they'll do when farming became a thing and creating the furrows and dropping the seeds and harvesting, that was all women. I don't know what men did in prehistoric times. It's kind of murky. They may have done the cooking, they may have cooked the meat after the women gathered it, but not all the hunting. So, but to your point, men will often do the intellectual pursuits. They'll try to organize in terms of building on existing intelligence and stuff like that, and then they'll just let the women do it. Apparently. That's all they're good at, is organizing things. And then even you guys outpace us in that too in modern day. So you're better organized than we are. You can do more at the same time than we do.
You do know who
I'm saying
I am,
you
right?
gals. Yeah, I know. You're the ultimate organizer.
Truly.
You're a zombologist and you have
Leslie knows.
obsessive compulsion disorder.
Something.
But highly organized obsessive compulsion disorder.
It could be autism. I don't know. But anyway, let's move on. And Sid could be.
We're live, right?
Yeah.
Yeah,
it's fine.
Something we're all in some spectrum.
We are.
Sexually,
it's true. 100%.
Intellectually.
Yeah. It's true.
Not at all. It's fine though. Okay, let's keep going.
We are, Dave.
Oh,
I can't edit any of this. But I agree with you. Anyway, or agree with the joke you were trying to make, but I think it's real. Anyway.
Yeah, I was trying to back away from a joke by making jokes. It wasn't working. By the way, Thomas, if there is...
I was saying it could be autism. Dave, I've never been evaluated. Why are you shushing me?
We're trying to move on. It's like the Anna Milton conversation.
Tons of people are autistic, Dave. It's fine.
You know, trauma, Bridget. We're all trauma bonded, aren't we?
Well,
Anyway,
I am
let's
trauma
keep
bonded with my
going.
husband. Yes.
Oh, I'm
He
trying not
doesn't have
ask more
anything to
about
say
that.
after that.
It's fine. It's fine.
Okay. Anyway,
I do want to talk about the title sequence though, because what I found really interesting about these two episodes is that the title sequence is kind of like the what is why are you
I
laughing and
skipped
denying
over.
us.
I skipped
I did
over
too.
it.
I did too. I was like, title sequence.
I'm like, I don't have time for this. Skip.
Yep. It said skip intro. I was like, okay.
Well, maybe you shouldn't have, because what's interesting about the first two episodes is they tell it's kind of like when they give you the recap before every episode. It tells you the recap's supposed to tell you what you should be paying attention to in this episode, how it relates to this episode, kind of preps you in the brain for what to look out for. The title sequence of this show, listen, okay, let me take a pause right now because Rachel's making faces as though title sequence. Let's not talk about this episode anymore. Well, we're here to talk about this episode, so we're gonna go all in. You can. There's the door. No, where's
Bye.
the door on the virtual world? No, she's gonna leave, and I don't want her to
You don't-
leave. I'm just making a joke.
You don't want to give us that option, Dave.
Listen, you guys don't have to be here. It's fine. It's cool. It's actually cool. We've talked about this a
It's
billion
okay.
times
It's
behind
fine.
closed doors, not
It's okay.
live. But here's the thing. The title sequence is interesting because in the first one, it was all about basically crowded spaces and baseball games and busy airports and freeways and things moving in fast motion, signifying the population and it being we've dominated the earth. We're just everywhere. Ugh, that's people. The second episode is nature taking over what once was crowded. The baseball diamond, the highways in the desert are being windswept with sand covering all over. The pollen and dirt on the cars is building up. All this thing. So it's telling you a story about what you're about to see. Is that whereas the first episode was more like your antagonist was really yourself. How do we make it past the first year without meeting anybody? Well, besides the first two people in the first 3 weeks. But how do you make it? And what I like is that the second episode kind of brought that up again with Ish basically cutting down the noose, the hangman's noose that he made for himself. And Emma also admitting that she was also going to off herself, or just about to, until he came into her life. But then this episode just moved into the whole idea of, okay, first episode is you versus yourself. Second episode is you versus nature, and you not being the apex predator. Now what do? There's leopards. There's zoo animals that are taking over the streets. Penguins. I don't know, cougar or leopard. I don't know what it was. And what was the other thing? Another zoo animal that was in the streets. It doesn't matter. But the goats getting out of the pen, the factory that upset me. The factory farm pigs dying in the pens and stuff like that, or clamoring on each other. But I'm actually curious to see what the third episode, because we've got the first two. These are two basic
You
things
versus
that we know
man.
because of the end scene, seeing that
Yes.
one man,
Yeah.
seeing her sign. Let's talk about this one piece now that we're here. Great segue. Now that people have been introduced, other people have been introduced, or at least one other person has been introduced. Now we're starting to get a sort of maybe what this world could look like in the Walking Dead sense, because wasn't the big thing was a lot of people knew that everybody died and the dead roamed the earth. But one of the biggest things about the Walking Dead was other people and how dangerous that, because it's one of the first things I saw when he meets Emma is, she does the natural thing. Are you a threat? Ish with his pickaxe, holding it up in the air like this, and she's like, yeah, you know what? If this is how it's gonna go, I'd rather die right now. But with people being introduced, was it a smart move for her to basically tell other people where to find them?
Is that a real question?
Because it's a real question. Yeah.
No, that was the dumbest thing she could have ever done. She has
See,
a
that's why
brand
it's a
new
great question.
She has a brand new baby. But yes, let's go ahead and invite strangers over to your front door.
Bridget?
That's the thing. In
See,
Last
I
Man
know-
on Earth,
I know you
he
wanna
just
weigh in.
spray painted Alive in Tucson and everything. So you didn't know exactly where he lived. You just knew that he was in that city. And I think that's a safer bet if you're trying to find other people, because at least then you can still like get away or hide from them. But you told them
Right.
where to come.
Right.
And that's the thing. You have a fresh baby. Like, this is what you're supposed to be focused on is,
Fresh baby.
well, it just came out of the oven. It's
like
fresh.
it's like a cabbage. It's like a cabbage patch. Yeah, it's like, oh.
You should be protecting that child. That is now what your life's goal is. Not for you to
And
feel
yet-
for you to feel comfort in knowing other people. I understand you want a community, but as of right now, you have to keep your baby safe. And until you know that your baby can be safe around other people, because one, you also don't know what caused any of this. What if it's not natural immunity? What if it's some sort of life event that happened to you that causes your immunity? And what if now you are subjecting your child to other mutated versions of the virus because you're allowing people to come into your lives? You don't know. There's too much at stake. It seemed like a really stupid idea, but whatever.
But then again, okay, there's two responses you can give to that. Is one, mutations don't work the way you think they work. Usually, and we found that out during our own pandemic, which is the more a virus mutates, the more we can adapt to it, meaning the weaker it gets. But also, there is the element of, are we the last people on Earth? And do we want to live in a world where it's just us and our kid? And I get the compulsion. This is why I asked the question, because we're trauma bonded over the fact that people in these shows, they're not that great when it all comes down to it. And it may be the case here too. And you may end up being right, at least from the start. May end up starting really good because they're happy to see other people. But you may end up being right, as this might be an adversary, let's say. But I do understand the compulsion from them to seek out other people, because you do want variation in your child too.
I
It
understand
can't
that too,
only
Dave,
be
but
about
it's
you.
too soon. It's too early.
It's 2 years already, though. And 2 years in
Not 2
this
years.
kind of environment.
Not 2 years since your child has been alive.
Right. She was too
Well, no, that's
specific.
true.
I like Bridget's idea of just like, hey, this general area, there's people. Like, don't give them your address. That was just dumb.
But she wouldn't have known that unless it was the Last Man on Earth. Unless she didn't see that.
She didn't watch Last Man on Earth, so that's why she doesn't know.
Which you should. It's so funny. Anyway,
it's so good.
But there's also the other element of Emma. Emma wants her child to grow up in the same environment that she did. And I get that. I get that you want that.
I understand. I am an Emma type person. Like, I cry every Thanksgiving that I'm at my mom's house because the house is empty afterwards, and I can't stand that feeling of the house not being full anymore. It makes me so sad because the house is filled with people for
Thanksgiving.
2 days, and then all of a sudden everybody's gone and it just feels empty and I can't take it. So I am Emma. I am that person. But your baby becomes your priority.
Well, she already had one. So you're not telling her something she already doesn't know. But also, let's even put it this way. From their perspective, it's a huge long shot. Do you know what I'm saying? It took them this long, a year, to even find each other. So to consider the fact that maybe they're thinking, are we the question was even asked in this episode, are we even the last people on Earth? And was it fate that guided us here? Now, they're not clearly they're not that religious people. And so they're thinking to themselves, they don't really believe in fate. And maybe this is just a coincidence, but they're thinking it's not going to happen. Nobody's alive. Nobody's here. How would they even know to be here? Out of 330 and more million people in this country, and maybe even Canada, which is 11 million more. That's right. Something like that. Yeah, I think it's very low. You wouldn't think. You're thinking to yourself, it's a long shot. And if and when they find it, they're not going to find it right away. that's what I would be thinking if I was putting myself in her headspace. If they do find it, by then our daughter will be 22. Do you know what I mean? That's where their head's at. Does that make sense?
I mean, I don't know, Dave.
It's a
I
huge
get what
long
you're
shot.
I get what you're saying, but like you found each other, and Ish. It's not that Ish has only seen just you. He did meet 2 other people. There are people, but the United States is a big place. Like in comparison to other countries, we're a very large, like spacious place to be. There's a lot of places to go. There's a lot of places to hide. And you haven't really
All the more
tried
reason-
much in
Sorry.
terms of like finding other people. So you could have spent this last
Well-
year doing that instead, but they
One
didn't.
one of the main things that, so like, I like to travel, right? And this dude has basically got my
You do?
dream. He has unlimited gasoline, any vehicle he could possibly want, roads without a bunch of traffic on them and jerks driving like crap. He could drive and
Driving
see
on the wrong side of the
the
road.
entire country at his leisure, and he's sitting in his dead parents' house, fighting with rats for a part of a cow.
And fighting his sanity too. You have to consider that. I mean, think about it. You have this entire country to see, but you're convinced based on his first experience of seeing people who are just like ready to go, of the people that you're going to meet, if any at all, how many of them are there's nobody out there. Of all the places you can go, oh, this is what a cool bridge. Nobody's there to share that experience with you. Do you know what I mean? So what is it worth? You could do a lot. Like you could do the entire world in a year or two, right? You could see all the things you ever wanted to see. But at the end of the day, it feels hollow. Do you know what I mean? Are we all here? No? Are we no? We don't say
I
anything
mean,
about
I
that?
don't agree with that, but sure.
Well,
I
how
think
long
it
could you
depends.
last?
I think it depends on the person. I think there's plenty of people out there who would be perfectly fine doing all of that on their own.
But for how long? Not forever.
I mean,
And for what?
I'd have
I
to
wouldn't
do
be
it
thinking
to know.
about that. Yeah.
Yeah, I'd
I
have to
wouldn't
do
be
it to
thinking
know. That's the
about
thing.
how long can I do this for? I would just be doing it. I don't
Well,
ask
You'd be doing
myself
it,
that
and then
at any given
Right.
time. I
You don't
just
ask-
get through the day.
You don't ask
And then
yourself
tomorrow
that
happens
on
and
a
I'm
regular-
still trying to do things, and how long can any of us do anything?
You don't
You
ask
just do
yourself
it.
that on the regular every day. It's just like you just live
Just
your
do it.
daily life. I mean,
Yeah.
that's what they're
Yeah,
doing.
but you're
They're
being
just-
confronted with it. You're being confronted with it now, though, because everybody you know and love is gone. It's not the reason that you do these things is for other people, but your priorities shift immensely when there's nobody else around.
What?
I
But
mean,
yeah,
you don't
let's
know
say-
there's
I don't
nobody
let's not
else
even say
around if you
immensely.
sit in the same place. You don't know that there's nobody else around if you sit in the same place all the time and wait for people to come to you.
But to Bridget's point, why would you go out of your way? Because you're just inviting maybe crazy people. So better for them to come to you in your home turf.
wait. That is not my point. That was not at all what I was saying. I don't agree with that philosophy at
But-
all. I would be out there looking for other people. That is what I would be doing. I was saying
Wait, why?
it's
Isn't that the
Why?
reverse argument, though? Yeah.
no, because that's
Why
the
would you
type
look
of
for other
person
people?
I am. I would not want to hole up,
Wh-
Dave. I would want to find other people.
I
But
would
wait,
want to
hold
go
on a
out and
second.
see the world, see the country, and not have a bunch of people around me bugging me.
I would want to find other people. Here's the difference, Dave.
That part.
I cannot have children.
Again, Ish.
Probably.
You're all Ishes, but Ish is
Probably.
Ish. Ish was all about being alone. He's the extreme example of somebody who would want to be alone and left alone, and yet when everybody died, it wasn't enough for him. Now, I agree.
No,
I would
we
probably
don't know that. He was out. That doesn't mean he wanted to stay. He
We-
knew
we
he
kinda
had
do.
people he could go home. He knew he had people he could
Okay.
go home to. I can go to my parents' house.
Right.
I can go see my friends. That's
We-
totally different.
we can't have the same philosophical conversation every single episode. Like, Dave,
But you're just not getting it, so we have to keep going.
no, like you clearly don't agree with us about this.
Clearly, I'm right, and you're wrong, and so I have to tell you why.
I feel, as a
I'm
person who
kidding,
has been
I'm
through a ton of emotional, traumatic stuff, that I, despite all of that, still continue to go on to this day. So I feel that I would continue to go on for the sake of going on. Because
I'm not talking about going on. No. I'm talking about being isolated or wanting to
I
isolate
wouldn't,
yourself.
but
or
going
being perfectly
on,
content being alone.
going on for me means finding other people to be able to continue to go on. But here's the difference: I'm not pregnant, and I don't have a brand new baby. That's what I'm saying. That changes the rules.
Right.
That changes the rules.
Right. Sure.
Also,
So
bro,
she changed the rules and invited
they
him to her
couldn't
house.
find a condom somewhere. There's condoms laying around all over the place. Everybody died. You know, you could have avoided this whole.
Well, I mean, if you
problem.
want to repopulate the
Guys.
Earth, you
I
know,
don't-
this is what you
Yeah,
gotta
but
do.
they were,
but
Yeah.
but they were like super surprised about it. Like it
That
wasn't
part
like
was
they were
weird.
like.
that part was weird to me.
Well,
that
I
he
would
was
be
like,
too.
where he was
given
like-
well, we have.
what are we gonna do? And it's like, yeah, okay, well, like that, but this is the natural consequence of what you're doing.
Right, and not only that, excuse me, sir, but women have been having babies forever and ever and ever and ever, and we still are here. Like, you know what I mean? Like, what are we gonna do? Like, yeah, women have been having babies forever. It's gonna happen whether you do it or not.
Yeah, but he's 27 years old. First of all, so he's a baby. He's a baby who wanted to be alone a lot, and apparently bringing untoward women to his parents' house. Let's throw that aside. But also, we're in kind of a birth crisis. Our birth rates globally, but more in the United States, are plummeting. So you're thinking to yourself, what are the chances? Really, what are the chances? I would be thinking that.
To be fair,
Birth rates are plummeting because people don't want to have a fucking little, an effing little screaming lump of flesh attached to them for
actually, statistically speaking,
That's
I
partially
don't think
true.
that that's the case. It's actually a lot of infertility issues. Which, why is that on the increase? Looking at you, government.
Well, now that the government's not there, obviously they had a kid on the first try.
There's no longer
Yeah.
anyone
There you
pumping
go.
something into your water. Just saying.
I was gonna say something, but I'm not going to because that's not where we are.
I don't care. I don't
You
care
said
what
enough.
anyone thinks about
That's
me.
cool.
I like conspiracy theories.
Thanks, Robert F. Kennedy Jr. Anywho,
Maybe I have a brainworm.
I
Ever
did
think
say
about
it.
that?
That's fine. It's cool. That's fine. That's fine. Did you get the call, Bridget? Did you get the call? Anyway.
I'm all
But Bridget,
denying the
I'm in
laughter
the cabinet.
again.
Bridget,
Yes.
did you cut the head off a whale and then drive home with it strapped to the top of your car, leaking whale juice all
It
over
was,
the
it
car?
was a bear. It was a bear.
No, it was a
no, it was a
whale.
whale. It was a whale.
No, but
It was a
that
whale.
You
sounds.
left the
I
bear
mean,
in
you
such
can't
a-
waste it. You can't waste it. You gotta use it.
Listen,
you
like
know
the
what I mean?
cow, you got to use all of it.
Yeah, you
Bringing
gotta
it
use
back
it.
to the episode. Ish.
I do.
trying
I
to
will
take
say
out
this
the
one
cow.
quick. One thing, Ish was us in that moment. That's every person. I could kill that animal, no problem.
Mm.
No, you would
Yeah.
be the same way.
I know.
Like you still could do it. Like you do it if you had to, but it's not like it's your pet. It's a cow.
I don't even know
You'd
if I
still
could
be like,
do.
yeah.
I don't even know if I could do the actual deed because it's sweet cow eyes. We're looking at it. I don't know that I could handle it. I'd be looking for something else.
Rachel
Why
wants to
didn't-
chime in.
I do. Why didn't he grab some rope and try to like herd them closer to the house? Why
wondered
did he
that
not do that
too. I wondered
closer?
that too because they would be
Well,
a
not
good
only
source of
that-
milk.
Exactly. I was gonna say how
Well-
handy would it be to have cows right there next to you. You know.
Well, also you also don't want to shoot a rifle near your pregnant. You don't want a chance. First of all, the sound.
She's a
upsetting her, and
hunter.
also
She wanted to
she's
do that.
pregnant,
So
but she's pregnant.
You don't
you
want
wanna
to
have a
shoot
loaded
your
gun?
around your pregnant. What does that have
Pregnant
to do with anything?
wife.
that what?
Oh my God, Dave!
That's it.
Okay,
If I ever get pregnant, I'm going
we
to
have to
shooting range just to show Dave
we
that
have
he's
to
wrong.
we have to take a step back. We have to take a step back because a couple of things happened in this episode and also the last episode. One, anything can happen. You fall off the roof, you could seriously. There's no hospitals. Also, you could
Why'd you
get
say it like
seriously
that?
hurt because you obviously aren't getting it. This is it. There's no one out there that's gonna help you. No,
I
listen,
get
you can't
it.
say stuff on mute and laugh on mute. Just unmute yourself,
said,
please, for the love of God.
"Hospitals."
No, I don't know. I don't like when it gets
Why?
off the bot because we're talking over each other and I don't like doing that. You have asked us
Well, then
numerous
just don't do
times
it.
not to do that. So I'm not doing
Well, there's
it.
no noise anymore. No. Oh my God.
You're the
But
one who
I'm
talks
missing the
over us.
sweet, delicious laughter.
Secret joke.
It's not that great. You'll survive without it.
What am I doing right now? What am I doing right now? What am I doing right now, Bridget? You can't do a millennial pause in the middle of an episode. That's not right. Anyway, so anything can get you. And so why would you want to endanger your pregnant wife? Or not wife technically, but yeah, whatever. Let's just say that. It's a common law marriage.
Oh, yeah. No, I'm fine with that. I get what you're saying, Dave. I don't think it was like a danger thing as much as it was he didn't want her to have to do it because she's very pregnant. And so she shouldn't be doing strenuous activities. Honestly, I think that's where.
Oh, is that what you meant by bringing it home? Oh, okay. Okay, I understand. Because I thought it was just for the fact that why didn't we bring the cow closer to the home because then it would be there so he wouldn't have to take it so far. But that's the cow's grazing
No. I
land,
meant
so-
like, why wouldn't you bring the cow closer so that you had a cow? Not to
Oh, you know, I
kill.
know.
There were
I know.
several.
That's what I
Not
thought
to
you
kill.
meant.
Like
No, not to kill.
bring all the cows back and sort of like try to corral them.
Yeah,
and,
because you're
like,
gonna have to have
then
a
you
bull.
have more meat.
Because you're gonna have to have a bull.
Yeah, but where are they going to graze? They have to eat too.
Well,
True.
Then move to a
grass.
farm instead
Everything's
of in the
overgrown
suburbs.
right now. So
Exactly.
They don't want to.
Why
They
do you
like-
live
they like
in the
their
city? It's
parents'
dumb.
home. Listen, why ask why?
Well, isn't
Anyway.
that
So many
that's why you
whys.
wanted us on here was to ask why?
Do you think? Here's my next question. Do you think that this person that we
prefer
saw
to-
at the end is actually going to be bad, or do you think that's a red herring and really they're going to be fine?
I hope they're bad. I hope they're bad.
Oh.
I need something. I need something exciting to happen. Like this has been, I'm sorry, boring, right? Am I
The
wrong?
rats
think-
didn't.
this
The
I
is
rats
think-
didn't do it for you.
I think it's
I like the
think
rats.
it's Heather.
Rats is
I think
interesting.
it's Heather grown up and coming back in time to tell her parents that there's something
This
going
isn't
on
from
in the future. that
Charity.
can't-
You know what?
Sharon, it's not from.
You know what? I hope it is.
It's
I
Martin.
I hope it is.
It's Martin.
It's Martin, chained up Martin.
No,
Actually,
I need
it's
something
Jim,
really
'cause
exciting to happen. Honestly,
he's off the
this
show.
is just
what if it was Ian Bailey, by the way? That would freak me the F out because then maybe the universes are connected.
That's
The
idiotic.
only way that they were safe.
Dave's
the only way
hair-
that from people
Dave's hair is getting like just higher
went
and
up.
higher.
it's on MGM Plus. Listen, wouldn't that be a little bit exciting? You're like, okay, wait, hold on a second. This is what we thought it was gonna be. Boring.
They're like, you signed a contract
just
for
about
MGM Plus, which
surviving.
means you'll be on every television show we create. You're
Yeah,
now
Ian
on
Bailey.
Earth
just
Abides.
Ian, just Ian Bailey. He'll die in every series that MGM puts out. Spoiler alert. Don't look up who Ian Bailey is on From.
Spoiler
Jim
alert,
Matthews.
Dave. This is live. Wow.
It's
Can't even
3
fix
seasons in, god damn it. Yeah, well, here we are. Anyway, by the way, if you are
Mouth.
on, what did I say?
Watch
did
your
you
language.
said GD. Watch your language. We're live.
God damn it, that is not a
Hey!
swear word.
That is so much worse than the F bomb. Stop it.
Well, damn it.
That's better.
Okay.
It's fine.
Thank you. Yeah, that's
Ah, god damn it. So listen, if you're
Damn
on
it!
X, just so you know, there may be a chat window. The reason why it's not showing on the screen is because it doesn't work. X, as far as live streams go, doesn't work. If you want to participate in the chat and tell us things, head on over to our YouTube channel, youtube.com/squawkingdead, as Thomas was, at least for a little while, but he's saying that the chat
It'll
isn't
show
working.
up. It'll
It's
show up 10
probably-
minutes after we had that discussion.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because he was commenting on me being a specifically tiny bird to be tested on for diseases. Anyway, so let's keep going though. What else about this episode? I don't really know if there's that much to talk about, to be honest with you.
Nothing.
I mean, I thought of Bridget when they were talking about the solar power and the ice cream. Not because that's your thing now, but now it's just an
what?
apocalypse thing. Wouldn't
Oh,
it be
she's
great
fat,
if we
so
had
she
ice
loves
cream?
ice cream. I'm just kidding. I'm kidding. I'm kidding. I know where the joke
No.
originated.
Why
Dave
is it
gonna
always
move on so quick?
Why is it always like a beautiful young woman that shows up for the dude, right? Why wasn't it like some 52-year-old fat lady that showed up? Like, hey, what's up? Right? Why?
That's why I liked Last Man on Earth. because it's just more realistic.
Overbearing weirdo. Yeah.
I loved it.
The other thing I liked was that they kind of were like, you're not who I love, but I'm with you. So this is how it's going to be, right? Like, basically, when they're saying I would only love you if you were like the last person on Earth, and that's exactly what it is.
And well, yeah, like I said, opposites attract. And I actually don't mind that at all. I actually like that a lot.
No, I like the practicality of it. Like it makes, I don't know, it just seems genuine. It makes more sense.
But there was care. There was some
care.
Of
course they care for each other, but I don't think it's like this deep love that they have for each other. I mean, they love each other and they're together, but I don't think it's like and if outside of these circumstances, they never would have been a couple. They never would have been a thing outside of this circumstance.
But I would argue that makes for a stronger relationship because they're choosing each other.
Well, not really, because they don't have anybody else to choose from.
Well, choice. But I'm saying like they're well, okay, yeah, I guess. Anyway, never mind. Forget it. Forget what I said. Forget everything. It was okay. It was fine.
But there is something mystical to that though, because if you are the last person on Earth or something like that, well, and then all of a sudden the things that you think are deal breakers suddenly don't really matter, and so literally you actually do like them a lot more than you thought you would have normally.
I would still find
some things would still be a deal breaker, but
yeah,
I will add.
Like, you need to go to that side of the house.
You say that, and no, that may be with in that time span, that first 3 months where they were. By the way, they didn't even have sex for that first 3 months they knew each other, which is kind of like why it was filmed in such a way with the long cross dissolves and stuff like that, them getting to know each other and stuff. But no, there is some signs to that. Like all this thing about modern relationships now is such a new advent from.
Correct.
I'm thinking time immemorial, marriages have been arranged and they've been not saying perfectly fine at all. Not. But for the most part, they've worked, and they've worked well enough for us to be able to survive as a species. Not because of it being a forced thing necessarily, but because in a more anthropological way, if you really, really think about it, when you feel like you have an option, you don't take the option that's in front of you. So when you really think about it, when you feel like you don't have a choice, you are making the choice. All of a sudden, the things that you think are deal breakers in modern life, they don't really matter. What matters really is, can you stand each other? Can you raise a family together? Can you get along? These are very basic things that we think we need in modern times.
I think that has a lot to do with why divorce rates were so high for so long, because I think we fed a lot of people the lie that like you have to be in love with someone all of the time.
Right.
And that concept of that like that lustful, like, you know, that like new puppy love feeling, that's not a super strong thing to rely on.
200 years old.
Yeah, it's not a super strong thing to rely on. If you can rely on the fact that like, hey, I genuinely like being around this person, and I could see myself being not super annoyed by them for the rest of my life, like, you know, that's a standard to hold yourself to. It's maybe gonna work out.
And yet, if you feel like there's no choice and there's no way out, you would make it work. Mostly, unless you kill each other.
Let's avoid using language like "no way out," Dave.
Well, here we're in modern times. We can use those words.
I don't like it.
So-
It sounds bad. I don't like it.
Well, I mean,
There
let's just
is
put it
no
this
one
way.
else.
If you
Where
feel
will
like,
you go? Do you see what I'm saying? Do you see how it
well,
like
and
turns?
let me
Turns
add on
real
to that
quick.
point. No, there's no other choice. Anyway, there's no way out. You're backed into a corner. Both of you are, by the way. So here's the thing. On top of this new concept, it is a new concept. Marrying for love, not even relatively. It's ridiculously young. But what's even more ridiculously young is this modern fairy tale of the one true love that sometimes creeps into all of us. The idea that we're meant to be with somebody, I don't believe in whatsoever, first of all. But I know that many people do. That there is one person for them out there, the one true love. That thing is, to me, I don't like. Hey, Heather Jenks.
Hey,
Just finished
Heather.
the episode so I could try to catch it
Hi.
live. Oh, well, I'm glad you're here. We're talking about marriage now.
Yeah, this got
So, I
weird.
mean, I guess-
Let's turn away
I
from
guess
this.
that just depends.
No, I
well,
didn't
guess
think we'd
that
talk
just
about
depends on
that.
the marriage. I guess it just depends on the marriage because some people do have marriages like that, right? Where they do have the same deathless love throughout their marriage and everything's great. But then you have people that don't. So trying to like pinhole people into one thing is it just depends. It's just like everything else in life, it's very fluid and depends on the people involved.
I'll add to that because it's going to
That's
sound like I'm not agreeing, but I am agreeing. But I'll add more to it because, to be perfectly honest, I think there are many people out there for you. I think there's more people for you than there aren't people for you. Like, you can be compatible with more people than you wouldn't be compatible with, is what I'm saying. And so
I get what you're saying.
it
I get
really-
what you're saying.
I get what you're
It
saying.
really
I get
all
what you're saying,
depends.
but I really don't necessarily agree with that. But
I get what
I
you're
understand what you're saying, but yeah.
Well, I mean, if you take a look at your life, right? Like
To
how many
cl- to
people
clarify.
how many people have you loved? Like I didn't just have one love in
a
my
lot.
life. I've loved
Yeah.
a lot of people in my life. And that's okay. I mean, I am happy where I am now. I'm not saying that what I was saying earlier doesn't mean that I'm not in love with my husband. I love him very much. But it's just I don't know. I don't know. I grew up. I wasn't expecting like a fairy tale it's gonna be perfect all the time kind of thing. Right?
Well,
That's what I was trying to say.
but there's
Well,
a
I
reason.
mean, girls in society are fed that though. Especially
Oh yeah,
our
there's like a
generation.
prince who's gonna come along and
Where-
save you from everything.
Right,
and,
right. And
yeah.
I mean, we're raised on Disney princesses, who until very recently were
that's
not
what I was referring to. Yeah.
capable princesses, right? I was like, oh, come help
Yeah.
me, prince.
Yeah.
So I mean, we're kind of raised on that, or even in movies, because all the romantic comedy movies, they always find the one person for
Mhm.
them, blah blah blah. So then when you grow
Right,
up and you get into a
right.
real relationship and you realize that's all bull, it's
Yeah.
very
Yeah.
it's very disillusioning.
It's hard.
you know?
It's a hard
Well,
pill
and
to
there- but-
swallow.
But there's a reason for that too, because it's sort of like a backlash to the idea. First of all, that population's increased so much
Dave.
because of many different stepping stones and advents.
I can
What?
tell you why. It's a
You just
construct.
get this-
It's a social construct to keep women
But there's a
feeling
reason-
like they need a
But
man.
can I finish my
It's
thought
not
first
like-
before? You know what? It's very ironic that the woman is mansplaining and also talking over me, because I'm trying to make a point that you can actually respond to that I think you're making anyway. So why did I even bother speaking over you? My point was that culturally enforced monogamy is a thing, right? It's a thing, and a lot of those princess stories were a way of actually adhering to culturally enforced monogamy, which is what we do now. We marry one person for life. That's what I'm referring to. It sounds like
I
a
mean-
dirty word.
If you look at the standard of living creatures on this planet, very many of them do not stay together for life. There are very few animals or creatures in the kingdom that mate with the same mate for life. Very few.
Right, yeah. Well, there's very few. Yeah.
It is a social construct
But that's why
to keep women down.
disagree. That's fine. But culturally enforced monogamy is for humans. It's not for animals. Because if we didn't have it, we would feel like marriages would stop working, birth rates would plummet, and so people saw the writing on the wall, and they made it they actually used lawfare because the idea of arranged marriages and marriages for property, like you said, like you're referring to kind of keep women down, quote unquote.
People would bang no matter what, except for
like that's what I'm saying.
Populations would not decline. What happens is people feel like they have to be with the same person because that's what they're. And excuse me, this is not. I'm speaking of one religion. Every religion has this. Religion tells them they have to. You have to be married, or if you sleep outside of your marriage, you're a hoe. And that's basically what they tell you.
Literally, Mormons.
This isn't about religion.
No, this like that.
This isn't about religion, though. This is about science.
What I'm saying is, it's religion. Religion is the social construct that has made this the norm.
It's actually the opposite. The religion has set the table for that to be a thing. That's true. That's absolutely true.
Here's
You're right.
the thing.
You're right.
I disagree with both of you. So can we move on?
No, can we actually finish the conversation, Bridget? Because we are almost finished, I think, with this. But yes, you were right. Culturally and traditionally speaking, religion is the table setter of those rules. But in modern day, we're progressively becoming more secular. Let's say we have a more secular society, inarguably, than time immemorial, and even more so with every passing decade or generation. It becomes more important to adhere to a sort of culturally enforced monogamy because of things like natural things like jealousy and mate competition. And you're seeing this right now, where just look at the dating apps. Basically, it's all women, a select few men. And the dating pool is getting smaller and smaller because there are less men, first of all. And this is a huge problem for starters to choose from, because you think it's the alpha male, but really the women have the choice when it comes to mate selection. It's true. So it's more important now than ever to have culturally enforced monogamy. But from a purely scientific level.
Because if you want to get into the science of it, then spreading your genomes around is the better way to go. That ensures that your progeny has a better chance of surviving if you spread that essence of you around to different people. Because if you pick a woman, say you pick this woman and she has cancer and she can't have children, okay? And I'm sorry, Bridget, this is not. I don't say this in any way to be. I guess you. Anyway, woman can't have children. So now you have tied yourself to this woman who can't have children. Whereas if you, as a man, spread your DNA around, here's a woman who can. Here's a woman who has a better chance of bringing your child up to survive, right? So spreading around the DNA is the better way to ensure survival. And I'm not talking about everybody go out and sleep around and make babies. That is not what I'm saying, okay? But what I'm saying is, if you want to ensure the survival of a species, monogamy is not necessarily the best way to go.
Strategy. No, but that's not what I'm saying. Mate selection is a thing too, though. When a woman chooses a mate, because the woman chooses the mate, it's not just about progeny and having babies. It's about selection. It's about choosing what is the most efficient and the most effective when it comes to the type of offspring you want, too, based on the male's characteristics. So that's all that means. It's not just about spreading seed, which is what we're programmed to do, inarguably, but the women decide whether they're worthy of that. So
I just listened to a podcast. I just listened to a podcast about this called Science Versus, and it was about not women, but the females of different species and how they have evolved to make sure that their choice is who carries on the DNA. What I'm saying is, like, some species have ways to, like, say a male that they don't want to be the father of their offspring still gets to them, they do have a way of saying like, I'm gonna push his sperm over here in this pocket and not use it, and then the next
Yeah.
there are, and females have evolved ways to do that. It is now, I'm not saying the thing that dude said, that like women have a way of shutting down rapes or whatever. Remember that guy? I am not bolstering his argument in any way, okay?
It just shuts down the pregnancy.
But what I am saying is, yes, Dave, you are correct that nature has evolved different
Yeah.
ways for females to choose the mate. But that doesn't
we've just
always
done it
work
socially.
100%. Right? It doesn't always work 100%, obviously.
Clearly,
But there are
and I
ways.
don't even want to go there because we all know those ways, some of those ways, and some of those ways aren't great. Right, Heather? Wait, I don't know why I said that. I just wanted to say hi to Heather, first of all. And second of all, she said I slid here at the perfect time, first of all. And she said if the apocalypse hits, I'd be clinging to my IUD for dear life. See, she's an ish.
Dave, you said something about if all the men disappeared, and I was like, that wouldn't necessarily be bad. I forget exactly what you said.
And yet, here we are.
I wouldn't like it.
See, listen, you guys are all hitched up. See, that's the thing. But you don't know how hard it is for women now. Well, actually, maybe Brit. Yeah.
Oh,
well,
it was bad.
Do.
It was rough. It was rough.
It was
I
pretty
remember.
bad.
Yes, I have not
my
been
sister
single
still-
for years, but I was still out there, and it was still hard 20 years ago. I'm sure it hasn't gotten
It
any
gets
easier.
progressively harder.
No,
though.
I was single.
my sister's
still
my other
in
sister's still not married.
2016,
Yeah.
and it was very bad. It's like when ghosting started to become a thing, and it was
it was in its peak.
Rough. It was rough.
Yeah. Yeah, think about it now, and also think about this. And this should be the closer, but in let's say you don't want to go to a bar, let's say you don't want to go to a karaoke bar, or you don't want to go to the usual social settings. You think that you go to university and you meet just somebody that you can talk to on an intellectual level. Let's just say, well, now university enrollment is predominantly women, and there's very few men in universities right now. It was 55-45. Now it's closer to, I think it's like 70-30. So 70% women in universities on average, and 30% men. Now you're thinking to yourself, that sounds great. Not for the women who are there. And I'm not saying they're going out there to find men. I'm not saying that at all, but I'm saying they do exist. Okay. And Bridget says in the chat, not with her face mouth. Ha ha ha. I wish I was dead. Heather said in response to Heather saying, the bar is in hell, as the kids say. Well, it's true. It's true. Yes. I'm looking at you, right, Heather. I'm going to just read everything that you guys said behind my back as I was trying to make this. By the way, you have
I
a
said
problem.
it literally right in front of your face.
You said it in front of my face. So I was trying to say something. I was focused. Listen, my
As
attention
I
was
said,
focused on you.
As I
And all
said,
you were
I
doing
disagree with both of you. Can
as
we
a
move
female in
on?
university.
You said no, and I said, "Can I be
Rachel, why
in a
don't you
bar
say
now?"
what you just said in the chat? How about now? Yeah. Because I want to hear you say it.
Skibbity toilet.
No, I
Said-
want her to say it.
Dating now, skibbity toilet. It's basically the same.
Bridget did fantastic.
How about this? Hey, Rachel, what else do you want to talk about? Now, let's wrap it up.
Wrap it up.
I don't know what else there is to talk about this episode specifically. I just don't know. Oh my gosh, without getting into another hour-long conversation, I just don't know what this show is even about yet. And if you
Only been
just
on
say
for an hour and 15.
And if you say like, oh, the world that's too broad of a topic. I don't know. Look, this is going to come as a shock to everybody, but even From has a more cohesive point.
Oh my god, I can't.
So she unmutes to go, she doesn't unmute
You told me to.
laugh
You told me to.
at the chat.
At least
now she listens.
At least they're stuck in a town and trying to get out. Like, yes, there's all this other crap hitting the wall, but this is just like end of the world. Boom. That's it. Follow this guy around as he figures things out. That it. How many times
There's a
has this
stunning
been
lack
done?
of there's a stunning lack of antagonists, is what you're saying, which is what we said about the first episode too.
Yes, and you also said there's only 6 episodes in the season.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So we really need to start like kicking stuff off here, people. Like
I'd like to ask Heather. Heather, do you like this show?
yeah.
Yeah. That's a great question. I'm
Also, you said
really
you
curious to see how
watched-
this looks like from the outside.
She also said she watched the episode. So does that mean you watched the first one or the first and the second one? Because there've been 2.
I think the second one. I think she watched the second one. She was talking about the IUD. Hold tight to her IUD. So she must have been talking about this one. So now I could put the pieces together. The pieces of the IUD. And no, I'm not going to go there. Yeah, I think you might be right, though. I think this is really much. I mean, there is the actual giving birth thing and how Ish sort of freaked out about that in the middle of it. I felt that
I
too.
really
Have you
liked.
ever-
I did really enjoy the like cut scene to him like burying her. Essentially, like it's all his thoughts about like what could go wrong and what was going to happen. And
I thought that was his mom.
No, I think that was meant to be her. That he was like
Well,
going through.
he was flashing back to what we saw. Yeah.
Oh,
Okay.
I thought it was meant to.
But-
I thought it was like refilmed.
No, it was literally showing shots from the first episode of him burying his. But that's regardless. That's what he's thinking. I'm going to have to do this all over again, and I just let myself love someone. And then at the end of it, when the baby is born, he says, "I love you, Emma?" ? And I love that it was like that. You're of a generation, because we haven't talked about this yet. There's clearly an age gap, right?
Yeah, a bit. Yeah. I assume that
quite
she's,
a bit.
I don't think it's as
assumed
big as we
assumed
think.
Emma was closer to my age, so I assumed there was like a 10-year age gap max.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I'm thinking
I don't
that-
think
that's,
she's
that's a
even
big
40
age
yet.
gap.
Not
Yeah,
really.
that's fine. But she's old enough to have like a teenager.
Yeah, so
Clearly,
am
or
I.
two teenagers. Yeah,
Did she say they were
clearly I could be a
teenager?
grandpa.
She just said
They were in the photos. They looked like they were like
Oh,
12,
okay.
13 ish.
Okay.
Yeah,
Okay.
at
You
least. Yeah.
You said something a minute ago about not having antagonists, and I don't know that that's so much the problem, because I've actually watched a couple of shows that don't really have antagonists in them. I mean, look at Ted Lasso. There wasn't really an antagonist so much in that show. I just watched Hacks with Gene Smart, and again, it's not really, there's not really an antagonist in it, but it's still interesting. And for me, I feel like this show just isn't interesting to me. Like the idea maybe, but how they're executing it is boring the crap out of me. And again, it does not have to be anything to do with antagonists or anything, because I've watched shows that don't have antagonists. That's fine, but it's boring.
Partially, but you know what though? I think in addition to there not being the classical antagonist, because even in Hacks, the antagonist is the world at large that's oppressive, but it's
Well, and
also
Ted
these
Lasso
two characters
has
in Hacks.
Anthony Stewart Head is the antagonist. I don't remember his character.
Well,
Rupert.
everybody's the antagonist.
But what I'm saying is,
Ted
like,
Lasso,
it's Rupert. Rupert is the antagonist, but he's not. It's not like the governor, who's an ever-present antagonist, threatening everything in the show, right?
Yeah.
He's there, but he's not what the show is riding on. The show is not riding on his antagonism, right? Whereas,
right? No, it's not. And you're right. You're right.
I just feel like this show is just boring to me.
Well,
And unless they step it up
me
and
just
do something interesting, I'm just going to quit watching because I'm bored.
Well, let me just try this on. There's two things. One is in Ted Lasso, everybody's a protagonist and everybody's the antagonist. Across the board. They're fighting themselves most of the time. And most of the time you don't see it, but you can sense it. And that's it. It's everybody's trying to rise above adversity. Is that the right way to say that? No. That's
Yeah,
not the right way to
that's
say
a
it.
fine way to
Everybody's
say
on
it.
mute.
It's a fine way to say it.
But in this show, I think it's a lot like the way, whereas what Z Nation is the extreme version of this, not knowing what it wants to be. This is the same way. The show is constructed in such a way that there's a sci-fi element to it, but like a lot of the stuff that usually fills out sci-fi is basically missing. It's too grounded in reality. And so it's relying on the audience to see that in the first episode, the antagonist is ourselves in our most vulnerable, alone state. And the second episode is us versus the natural order and how it's changed. Now we're not the apex predator. Now nature's taking over. It expects the audience to see these threats and recognize it. And also the idea that why would you want to bring a child into this world that is where you are no longer the
We
apex
already
predator?
talked about that on. We already talked about that on Walking Dead. Yeah, I can't believe it either, Thomas.
True. But it's the additional factor of there being zombies, right? But you have a clear antagonist. And all the other factors of other people that come into play, competing interests that come into play as a result of that antagonist. Here it's just nature. Here it's just ourselves. And it's expecting the audience to see it and feel it. And I don't think many of us are, too. So it's an extreme example of Z Nation is what I'm saying.
I'm
Like,
with you.
what do you
Heather.
want to be?
I would like to
say what she said.
Read what Heather is saying about the show so far. So Heather started watching this show because we were covering it. She didn't know anything about it until we announced that we were covering this episode. So thank you, Heather, for being such a loyal fan and doing as we say, even though we send you into these traps. She also says, I'm not in love with it, but I'll give it a bit longer to reel me in. I think we're all kind of feeling that right now. I know I am. I mean, I know I am.
I said I'd give it one more episode.
Yeah. One more.
She says more.
I know. I'm commenting on this.
I don't even know if I'm going to go one more. I don't feel like I want to waste another hour on
I'm going to watch the whole thing.
I'm
I'm actually really curious to see where they go.
I don't know.
Because a lot of this is set
next
up
episode
too.
has got to really do something. I need to get the ball rolling here. All right. She also said, Heather also says she's interested to see how they will get her to care about these characters. With only a few episodes so far, she only cares about the dog and now the baby. Agreed.
I agree with that too. Hello, Polar Nights
and Jermaine
from
and
Twitch.
Good evening from Eastern United States. I don't know why I forgot what I was saying.
The Eastern Seaboard on the ones and twos.
Morning from North Norway.
I know,
Holy
North
moly.
Norway. And hey, Jermaine.
Yeah, we're not even covering
Hello.
Silo, by the way, which is a lot of the Rebecca Ferguson's.
Whoa.
Oh, she's Swedish,
everybody's
right?
popping
Where's
on
everybody
now.
coming from?
We're almost done. What's happening? 2 episodes.
And Bebe Rose. By the way, let me plug Bebe Rose first of all.
Bebe
So she
Rose.
says, I think the first 2 episodes are in. I think the 2 episodes are into
Intro
episodes, so
Dave.
I'm gonna keep
You're horrible at
intro
reading
episodes.
comments.
I am dyslexic, I think. I just don't know how to read out loud. So I'm gonna keep. I think so too, Bebe Rose. And by the way, Bebe Rose does these really cool little reviews, but also longer. Well, first of all, compared to us, they are very little. It's a 1/10 of the size of our usual breakdowns. But she does these reviews of From so far, and I think she already started Earth Abides.
Oh, cool. I
did see the first.
I subscribed.
Yeah, I did see the
Bebe
first
Rose.
episode breakdown of Earth Abides, and it was very touching. Actually, I really, really enjoyed her breakdown of it.
Oh,
So-
I'll have to watch that.
and also the bloopers. So, Thomas, you don't have to be here, but I'm glad you are to provide color commentary. It's mostly brown though. So, Jermaine, hi, Jermaine. What's the show about? The show is about. Do you mind if I explained? Because you guys
It's
are
a
going to go
show
into.
about-
No, we don't have
Nothing.
another. We don't have another hour.
Just
to
kidding.
talk about what
Get
the
it?
show is.
It's a Seinfeld joke.
It's post-apocalypse Seinfeld.
yes.
Yep.
Yep.
Yeah, I like that.
Perfect.
Just yada yada,
Perfect.
Feels
just
good.
yada yada your way through it. You'll be fine.
in the interest of brevity, I'll just leave it at that.
No, I'll tell you. It's about a guy who
Oh no,
He
she just couldn't. She
he
could
falls
not.
into a coma.
She
I
did the
guess
Dave thing.
coma-ish
Fever.
because he's bit by a rattlesnake, and when he wakes up, everyone is dead. Pretty much. That's it.
Yep.
because of a pandemic.
Yeah,
Yeah.
there was a pandemic. Yep.
Yeah, they don't come back to life. So
Yeah.
No,
No
it's
zombies.
not that kind of show. It's not
No
that kind of show. It doesn't know what it
zombies.
wants to be though.
And, I mean, there's
Doesn't know
some
what it wants to be, though,
rats.
yet.
There's some rats and a
In this
dog.
episode,
cats
this is episode
and a
2 that we're
dog.
talking about. Apparently, the dogs didn't fare well compared to the cats, is what was said
Nope.
on the show.
No flu for you.
You want flu? $3.
No flu for
I'm
you.
gonna pay for the pandemic.
Oh,
That's
It doesn't
great.
even make sense.
we all paid.
Oh, your life is so hard. You had to sit for an hour to talk about
Oh,
this
we had to
episode.
watch a TV show to cover it.
Life is so difficult.
Yeah, Jermaine, that's a fair.
Actually,
Yes,
that's
yeah,
a fair
Jermaine.
assessment. Yeah.
Only
that was
Yeah.
not as good.
similar outfits, probably, maybe in a way, kind of like the early murder jacket, jean jacket sort of dem thing going on with him.
Yeah, I guess
So,
so.
yeah.
Yeah.
It's a good
Yeah.
hook, by the way. You wake up and the world's gone to crap.
Yeah.
I mean, how many people? 28
it-
days later.
wrote me in for 28 days later? That's for sure. Yeah.
There you go. Yeah, I think we've done all we can with this episode. I think I am very interested
Truly.
to see what happens with other people. And other people that have made it this long, first of all.
I
You're
hope it's
you're
Steve
at the end of
Zahn.
year 2. Shut up. Shut up. Shut up. I love humor.
was-
I love
That would
Steve
be
was-
so
Zahn.
good.
He was so good in the last season of Righteous Gemstones.
Have you seen White Lotus?
I watched the first season and I couldn't. I was about halfway through. I got bored.
Who has time?
Bored? How did you get bored? I had
got
to
bored
stop
halfway
myself
through.
from watching every episode.
I tried it. I couldn't get into it.
This is how we felt about Ozarks. Like everybody loved it, and I
Oh,
got
well,
bored.
I
fell
get
off
that.
I
I
loved
watched
Ozark
first
in the
episode of
beginning,
that,
but season 4 lost me.
I get
Yeah,
that.
It gets boring after a
The
while.
great thing about
Mm.
the great thing about White Lotus is it's sort of anthology style, though there is a character that travels throughout the 2 seasons,
I started
but
watching.
it happens in
because,
different locations.
Murray Bartlett is in it. And
Bartlett,
Right
Yeah.
after he was in The Last of Us, I was like, "Oh crap, I'm gonna check him out in White Lotus." And so I did try to watch it, but I just couldn't get into it.
he's a completely different character, though.
Guys,
to
I would
admit.
like to. I would like to recommend a show called Somebody Somewhere. It's a really low key. It's on Max Originals. It's really low key, but it's so good. It's another one of the shows that doesn't really have an antagonist in it. It's just about these people's lives, but it's really good. It's really good. There was a part the other day.
I'm
I was
hearing more buzzing, by the way. Sorry to interrupt you.
I touched this
All right.
wire.
Just in case.
I was watching an episode the other day where one of the main characters they just had a great Thanksgiving dinner. Everything went fine. He sits down at a table and then he just starts crying. And he does this movement like, why am I crying? And I was like, I relate to that so hard, to just cry for no reason and not understand why you're doing it and just be like, why am I crying? But yeah. Anyway, it's a great show. It's really funny and cute. So I recommend it. There's only 3 seasons. They're almost done with the 3rd season. So I recommend that to anybody if you want something to watch.
Is it Chandler Riggs? So Thomas says I watched Chandler's movie yesterday. Really, really good. What is it called? Was it really that good? It's
called Chandler's
The
movie.
title. Wouldn't that be funny?
If you guys want
This is my story.
If you guys want a cute Christmas movie to watch, it's called Last Christmas, and it has Amelia Clark in it, who played Daenerys. And it's
On
really
Game of
cute.
Thrones, right?
Yeah, it's really cute and funny. Like, it's a total regular Christmas movie, but it's really cute and funny. So
Okay. Let's see
What
what
were you
else
gonna
is
say,
there
Ray?
to say.
we need
Oh,
to.
was she gonna say something? I forgot.
What?
She made a face like she was going to say something, and then she stopped.
By the way,
I don't know. That
wanna
was like
mention,
2 whole minutes ago.
and it's the space. By the way, we never got into the title. But we might as well get into it now. In terms of the title, what do you think the space between refers to?
I don't even know what the title of this episode was.
The space between.
Oh,
That's
the
the-
space.
The
Ooh.
space between.
I
That's
forgot we were live. I almost
lines.
said something really
Yeah,
bad.
That's all I think of.
That's why I talked over you.
Are you opening a Christmas card, Dave?
I do have 2 Christmas cards. I didn't want to show them because it has addresses on them, but yeah, I have one from Linda and also one from Heather, but I will
I-
not be opening them
I got one
today.
from Heather.
I got one
also.
from Heather too.
Me too.
And,
Yep.
Thanks, Heather.
and I just
Heather.
wanted to say that I got them and I have not opened them yet because I want to open them later.
For anybody who's watching, we need to tell you about this great thing that we're going to be doing in the next couple of weeks. Our 12 days of squawking Christmas. I don't know what we're calling it, Dave. Basically, what we're going to
The 8
do
days of Hanukkah.
is we
Eight
have
days of
some
Squawkmas?
we have some celebrities on board, and they are going to be raffling off 10-minute Zoom calls. And what we're going to do tomorrow is we're going to put out all the information, how you donate, how the rules are, and everything. But basically, every $5 donation to one of 2 charities that we're going to list gets you an entry into a raffle of your choice. We have 8.
Yeah, basically.
We have 8 celebrities lined up right now. We're working on getting more, so there's going to be plenty to choose from. But donate $5, get an entry to the raffle. You can donate as much as you want. Every $5 is an entry. If you donate $35,
Not now.
no, not now. You haven't put out where
Yeah, we haven't set it
you
up
haven't
yet.
put out where do you? But basically, when we start it, every $5 donation is an entry to the raffle of your choice, and we have some great people lined up, y'all. Some great people.
Yeah, and more great people to come.
Yes,
we're
we are
working
working
on
on getting
right
more.
now.
So if you know anybody, send them our way so we can ask them about it.
Right, and the most important thing about this
Me.
is that
you get 10
I will
minutes
be.
with me on Zoom.
It's me. I'm the celebrity. Surprise.
It's me. I'm the problem. It's me.
It's not
See,
us.
I would say the
We're
same thing,
garbage
but
people.
I would be like, I'm the most garbage of the people on here,
What were you gonna say,
Also,
Dave? The most important
inarguably.
thing.
I agree, Thomas. Open
Oh
it
well, the
up
most
over
important thing
trash
is that
can.
I'll be releasing the promo for this thing tomorrow
Yes.
to talk in
Um,
full about it as much as possible in a minute. So
Benefit
That's the challenge.
The charities will benefit Western North Carolina Helene
Relief.
survivors and relief. There's 2 charities. One is Brother Wolf Animal Rescue. They lost their entire they lost their shelter and everything. Everything is gone, but they managed to get all their animals out and rescue them, and they are still fostering and rescuing animals in need. And also the North Carolina Community Foundation, which also benefits West. There is a link on that. We will be donating that directly to Western North Carolina Relief Fund. So I live in Western North Carolina. I was not affected personally, other than we had some trees down in our yard. But I drive around here a lot. I drive in Asheville in Western North Carolina every day, and I see a lot of really, really bad stuff. So people there
Yeah.
still need help. According to the news, they're saying please don't send food and water and clothing because there is a ton of that. What they need now is money to help people get into homes and shelters for the winter.
yeah, and for basic expenses too.
Yeah.
I mean, they still have bills to pay and
Right. So
creditors to go after.
I met a woman here who she had basically a tiny house on a piece of property in Grover, and it flooded and washed away. It is gone. Everything she had is gone. So she was looking for someone to help get her some food for her dogs. FEMA has put her up in a hotel room. She's been in a hotel room since September.
Oh, that's good.
FEMA has paid for a hotel. They've been trying to help her get back on her feet. So I went and gave her a bag of dog food and some groceries, just so she had, dog food for her dogs and everything. So people out there still need help. But North Carolina Community Foundation and Brother Wolf are the 2 that are really stepping up right now. If I know some
Yeah,
people are
yeah.
more into people charities than animal charities, but that's why I chose two. So you can choose if you wanted to go to
Right.
the animal charity or the people charity.
Yeah, and I think the way we're going to set it up is that you can choose through when you donate where you'd like it to go to. So
Right.
that'll be an option. But in the meantime, we're going to announce more about how this is going to work tomorrow. Don't you could if you donate now, it's going to go straight to the Squawking Dead funds, which we certainly could use. And I'll talk a little bit more about that in a second. But Jermaine, I think this is going to be in the place of, and I think you won't mind the fact that we're not going to be doing Secret Santa this year because of this, because this is going to be pretty exciting. I can tell you, the ability to have your donations go towards a 10-minute live call with the actor of your choice, possibly the
Not
one
just
you are
actors,
donating
because
towards.
we also have
Right.
crew. Yeah.
Right. Crew, yeah, right. Crew members on the shows that we love, and some actors whom are out of left field, but inarguably are enjoyable. And
Hey,
I
one of
would
the
really
one of
like
the
to
out of left
see.
fields is the one I'm like, oh yeah, I want that one. I'm gonna
That's
bid on
right.
that one.
Charity herself is going to donate towards that one. But yeah, your donations will go towards a specific person of interest. Let's just put it that way. And so that will be the challenge is as we reveal slowly who these people are, you're going to want to immediately donate, but you may not want to. You may want to hold on to those donations. We'll talk a little bit more about that tomorrow. And
You
in the
may
meantime, if
want
there's
to spread your money around like DNA and as far and wide as possible across as many celebrities as possible. The money,
if
not
you're
the
a man,
DNA.
that is what we're programmed to do. Exactly. But if you're a woman and you want to be selective about your mating choices, you may want to hold off because there are better options nowadays.
So if you
Anyways,
like
if there's
what you
nothing else
heard,
to talk about, exactly, head on over to ratethispodcast.com/squawking dead. 5 stars and a white drop is all we need to know that you love us. But tell us what you liked. Tell us what you didn't like. Tell us what you think we undoubtedly missed. But remember to tell us after every single episode. It really, 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 really counts. And if you really like what we're doing, head on over to at least Ko-fi or Patreon and just follow us so that you can join us in our closed recording sessions. It's free to follow, free to see the updates when it comes to our recording schedules, as well as free to join us in studio for these inarguably much more relaxed closed recording sessions where your input will for sure make it into the episodes because we have time for them. But if you like what we're doing, you could even do this now because it'll show up on the screen. You can tip us on Ko-fi for 30 days access to our unedited episode recordings, except for this one because it's live, as well as my ramblings, which I will be posting on our Ko-fi and Patreon pages afterwards. And you'll also get Discord access forever when you tip. If you happen to join the membership tier, which I highly encourage you to do, you'll get more Discord access. You'll have forever access to our unedited episode recordings and interview recordings. I should mention that as well, because we have had a few unedited interview recordings as well that you can get access to. And if you don't know who we've interviewed, you should scroll a little bit on our podcast pages and our YouTube channels. And we actually have a playlist of our interviews as well. But join the Whisperers, Great M, and Survivors tier. You can get a free classic t-shirt upon signing up. Some of you, like Heather, took advantage of this and joined the Whisperers tier, and she will be receiving a free upgraded hoodie. That was a one-time thing. But if you happen to join the Survivors and the Great M tier, you can show up alongside us, like on this live stream. Also, Whisperers were invited to this live stream as well, if you happen to join the Discord. So Heather, you could have shown up with us, just randomly shown up on screen, talking about this episode alongside us. I've been your host, David Cameo, and I was joined by, waits for her to press M.
Yep. Cosmo Mom 09.
Lazy Gardner.
and Bridget. You can find me at youtube.com/@punkybrewster. That's PUNKYBRUISETER. I have to spell it in my head before I say it out loud.
Leslie
Yeah,
Nope would
and
never
you
have to do that.
I know. It's my one failing. It's my one failing.
I hope I never get out of practice doing that because you've been doing it and I like that you've been doing it. But
If
I
you're
kinda miss it.
Leslie, does that make Dave Tom?
No, it makes Dave Gary.
Jerry.
I'm the Gary.
Jerry,
of the show.
Terry,
Jerry.
Gary. Yeah.
It's Gary.
Yeah.
We found out the
Yeah.
last episode, I think it was.
Yeah.
Anyway, take care,
And
everybody. I hope
you two are
will...
Tom and Donna. I feel like
Yeah.
you don't like that. I
You just
feel like
you
that's-
decide
No,
amongst
I was-
yourselves who
When
you want to
said
be.
Donna, I automatically went to Donna from, and I was like, wait a minute, she's not on Parks and Rec. It took me a minute to get to the right Donna.
No, I'm April Ludgate.
But can you imagine?
Yeah, she's April.
Then are you Andy?
I mean,
That's not
I'll
accurate.
own that, but
That's
okay.
not accurate.
Oh my God,
That's not accurate.
Bridget,
She's-
you're the Andy.
She's
Oh,
Dave's-
I am actually. Yeah, that checks out.
David's Ron Swanson.
Yeah. Agreed. With that, everybody, we'll see you
Bridget-
next week for our
Bridget
next
is
live
Ron
stream.
and Nope. She's like a Ron Leslie.
Leslie Swanson.
Leslie Swansea. I was going to say that.
Ron
Take care, everybody.
Nope.
We'll see you very soon.
Bye.
Next
we
week,
love you
we'll
guys.
be talking about this
Bye.
live again.
Maybe.
And I
Maybe.
hope we all enjoy this before
At least
you
me
do.
and Dave will.
Yeah, I am enjoying this series so far. Hey,
there
it's not
anything you don't
It's
enjoy?
not The Walking Dead.
It was fine. It was okay.
It was
Yes.
fine.
It was fine.
I want
Do
to
you
watch a
remember
show.
The Order?
It was
Yeah,
average.
but we didn't cover.
Do you remember The Order?
I want to cover a show.
I don't want to cover
that
it.
David
because I
doesn't
want to say
like.
nice things.
No,
I want to
wanna
say
co-
nice things about the shows we watch.
I want to cover a show where Dave's like,
Remember when this show was
sucks.
about saying nice things about shows?
Yeah.
no, that's because
sorry,
it
that's
started with a show
That's
we
because
love.
shows were good.
It started with the show we love the most.
True.
True.
It
And
said
how
very
people
were
much.
not
Being
I mean,
gracious
wow.
enough about
I
it.
didn't say bad things about The Last of Us. I didn't say
No
bad
one
things
heard
about
that.
The Boys.
Thank goodness.
I didn't say bad things about Better Call Saul. It's been the shows that are garbage. Sorry.
I mean,
Let's not end on a crappy note.
Yeah. Wow.
No, but you're
Way
right.
to really
Guys.
bring the room down.
Guys,
We got to give the
Winds-
people what they want
Dark
sometimes.
Winds is
though.
coming out in March, so let's watch that. That's good.
And we'll be covering that soon, I think.
We
I
will.
think we are. I'm not sure. But if you were in our Discord, and you should be,
You would know.
if you've donated ever, if you've ever donated, you have access to our Discord, as well as if you've joined a membership tier. You're just not smart enough to do it.
You guys are
should
missing
DM me
out.
and I could help
You're
you out.
missing out on the meme game we got going on. We got some great stuff we're talking about, and you guys are missing out on it. Get in there and talk.
We
With us.
still have
Get it.
Fallout memes, folks.
Get in there and get the real us, because you don't get the real us here. You know, this is our
David
our
edits us.
this
I
is
would
our
argue.
us.
Although I-
yeah,
You want the real us?
that's true.
Get
Dave
us in
does edit
Discord.
me.
I am more real here. I'm more robot on the Discord than I am here. So,
Excuse
Anyway,
me, sir. You seem
my
to
programming-
be losing an alarming amount of
The
Kool-Aid.
space between.
it's still lies. All right, end stream.